All right. Okay. All right. Hi everyone. Good evening from Nigeria. So I would like everyone to just in the chat box tell me where you are joining us from. If you are joining from Nigeria, what part of Nigeria are you joining us from? So I'd like to, let's get to know each other better. Okay, someone is saying Sudan. Oh, Saja, nice to meet you from Sudan. Ilorin, Nigeria, nice to meet you from Ilorin. That's Samuel. Princess from South Africa, nice to meet you. Okay, Rahman from Nigeria, nice to meet you. Shad from Malaysia, nice to meet you. Kelvin from Zimbabwe, nice to meet you. And Peace from Akwa Ibom, nice to meet you. DK Chamaka from Nigeria, nice to meet you. Taipi from Kenya, nice to meet you. Paula from Ghana, nice to meet you. Yeah, I can see we have someone from South Africa, Nowazi. Kindly pardon my pronunciation. Nice to meet you. Oyeni from Nigeria, nice to meet you. And Sheila from Uganda, nice to meet you. Azizat from Ogun State, nice to meet you. Eunice, yeah, nice to meet you. Soluwani from Mina, nice to meet you. All right. Super nice to see that we have a diverse group here. You have people from different parts of Africa, and this is a diverse group of audience, and I'm also excited to meet every one of you. So my name is Paul Ayomide Eweola. I'm a young ocean leader from Nigeria, and part of my bio has been read to everyone. And also, one thing I'm big on is advocating for ocean conservation initiatives. And also, I have an NGO that I run, Aqua World Community Development Initiative in Nigeria. And what we do is implement grassroots solution to promote marine protection and also improve the aesthetic values of coastal communities in Nigeria. All right. And my sincere appreciation for WAAW Foundation having me take today's talk. All right, so I'd like to share my screen. Please kindly grant me permission to do that so we can move into today's discussion. Okay. So I'm waiting for the host to grant me the permission to share my screen. Please. Okay, all right, thank you for that. Let's move briefly. So here's our today's discussion. Plastic pollution beyond waste management. And I know a lot of us, when we hear plastic pollution, something comes to our mind, right? And I'm here to just tell us that in today's discussion, it is beyond that word that comes to our mind, right? Plastic pollution is beyond that word. So let's move. We have a few highlights: the introduction to plastic pollution in numbers, the root causes of plastic pollution, impact of plastic pollution beyond waste issues, the way forward, talking about new technologies and solution. All right. So let's briefly about me. I'm a future thought leader and an early career professional. I'm versatile in project management, youth leadership, and sustainable ocean practices. So this is I call it my 15 seconds elevator pitch. That's just on a slide mode. And now let's start with the introduction. Now, the issue of plastic pollution has grown to become a global diatribe. And when I say a global diatribe, I mean a global attack, right? Plastic pollution is a global discourse. You know, for you to know how important it is, we have treaties on plastic pollution because plastic pollution is a very significant issue. About 3 years ago, I wrote an article on plastic pollution and I called it an hemorrhagic fever, that is a bleeding fever. And you know how devastating a bleeding fever is. It's very, very dangerous. And the reason why it is a global attack is irrespective of wherever you are on the globe, right? Whatever your latitude or your longitude, you are affected by plastic pollution one way or the other. If you're a coastal state, you're a landlocked state, you are affected by plastic pollution one way or the other. And it has devastating impact on our climate, our water body, our wildlife, biodiversity, right? And other biotic and abiotic factors, right? And it is no doubt that the most visible effect is waste generation. One of the negative impacts of plastic pollution that we can see, like the ones we can easily see, is waste. However, it is high time we bring to the table the issue of plastic pollution beyond waste management, right? There is more to plastic pollution than the waste generation issues that we put forward. All right. And I would like us to do an exercise. I want everybody to quickly, within the next 30 seconds, when you hear the word plastic pollution, what comes to your mind? How would you define plastic pollution? I know we all are scholars here, right? So I'd like to take one or two or three definitions from us. Don't need to think further. Just when you are, like, imagine I'm just waking you up and I'm asking you, what is plastic pollution, right? What comes to your mind? So I'll be going through the chat box. I'd like to get one or two responses. Okay, yeah, I've gotten one. Someone said plastic dumping. Someone said pollution caused by plastic products. All right, I'd like to get one more or two more definitions. How would you define plastic pollution? Right? How would you define plastic pollution? Yeah, improper disposal of used plastics. Okay, so let's move forward. I'm trying to bring out something. Right. So yeah, so many times I've asked this question: what is plastic pollution? And 95% of the time, a lot of people define plastic pollution as either improper disposal of plastic, in our environment, just like one of us already said, or the inappropriate dumping or trashing of plastics, right? Or someone said, accumulation of plastic material that are non-biodegradable in the environment. Someone said misuse and improper dumping. And you all will agree with me that all of these definitions are anchored on waste management, right? And I'm happy to tell everyone that plastic pollution should not, definition of plastic pollution should not stop at waste management. And that is what this session is about, right? So let's move further and let's attend to some questions. So this leads to my next question, which would guide our discussion. Is plastic pollution only limited to waste management issues? If you would ask yourself, right, plastic pollution, inappropriate disposal of plastics, and we stop there, is that the end of plastic pollution? Is that where plastic pollution stops? Right. Let's move forward. Now let's talk about plastic pollution in numbers. At the end of this training, I might ask us for some more definition, right? We all are going to redefine the definition of plastic pollution. Where we are going to introduce more terms. Now, Firstly, 8 million pieces of plastics make their way into the ocean every year, every day, right? 8 million pieces of plastics. I didn't say tons, right? I said pieces every day, according to OSPA, right? And that was as far back as 2009. And if we move forward here, according to INOMIA 2016, we have over, before it used to be 8 million tons, but now it has increased to 12 million tons of plastics, right? It's being dumped in the ocean every year. Now, you see those 2 points are on waste. Let's go further. 80% of all studied marine debris, right? Marine debris, 80% of the studied marine debris are plastics. Now, let's move further. That says 5.25 trillion macro and microplastics, right, are now floating in open oceans. And now we need to start asking ourselves some questions. We need to know that plastics take different sizes. And the ones that are not visible are more than the ones that are visible because of their size, right? And that is why you would see that I have in red the last 3 points. Microplastics, beyond macro, what we can see, right? Now you see that my second point says 100,000 marine mammals and turtles, right? And 1 million seabirds are killed by marine plastic pollution every year. This is murder. This is not talking about waste anymore. This isn't talking about waste. This has gone beyond waste. You can now start seeing biodiversity alteration because there are microplastics in the ocean, right? It alters the ecosystem biodiversity, right? It alters the productivity. There is interruption of food chain. It does not stop at waste. Oh, waste alone is what I can see. It leads to death, right? Death of animals. Now it leads to, the third one says, 1 in 3 fish caught for human consumption now contain plastics. And what happens? The interruption of food chain. Now you can see it. And there was a survey, I think sometimes ago, that says almost all human, a literature rather, a research that says almost all human now has a bit of microplastics in us. I can't recollect the institute in US that did the research, and everybody that were assessed had a bit of microplastics in them. Now, this is human health, right? This is poison into the human body. And you can look at the last point that says 2.5 tons of carbon dioxide is generated by producing 1 ton of plastic. Air pollution, emission of greenhouse gases. Can you see that? Now, all of this is telling us that plastic pollution is just beyond waste management issues. Oh, fine. We are talking about issues to address waste. But so many times when we go for programs, we go for activities, when we talk about plastic pollution, they just stop at waste. And you see, all of the solutions they give address only waste. But there is more to plastic pollution. There is public health. Whereas there is emission of greenhouse gases. There is interruption of food chain. There is alteration of marine ecosystem. There is murder of aquatic species. These are many aspects of plastic pollution that are not well spoken of. And we need to have it at the back of our mind that as researchers, as change makers, why there are so many focus on the waste aspect of plastic pollution, we have other areas that are unexploited. If exploited, they are explored by limited people, right? And that's why you see that when you have an exhibition and say, oh, come with ideas to plastic pollution, come with ideas to address plastic pollution, you will see more of recycling companies. You will see more of waste management people. Oh, and I'm having an initiative to clean up this and that. Fine. But how well do we have solutions to absorb microplastics in human? How well do we have solutions like drugs, just like we have antibiotics, right, to fight infection in human? How well do we have drugs to lessen the impact of microplastics in human? Yes, there are some of the solutions, but how many do we have? How often do innovators think about ideas to address other areas of plastic pollution beyond waste management? Right? So let's move forward, and I hope you all are following. And now,
yes,
this takes us to, oh, thank you. I won't talk much about this. I believe you all are scholars, and we all can, talk about root causes of plastic pollution. What are the causes? Overproduction, poor disposal, single-use culture, industrial processes, consumers' habits. Right? So I won't even dwell much on this. These are causes, right? This is one of the reasons why we have so many plastics in the environment, leaching of microplastics in our water bodies, and all of that, right? Let's move further. And now, let's pinpoint some of the impacts of plastic pollution beyond waste management issues, right? So let's pinpoint some of plastic pollution issues beyond waste. All right, so please give me a minute. Okay. Number one is biodiversity loss. So I will just take them one after the other. Like I said earlier, plastics in the environment do not just stop at littering. Oh, it makes the environment look dirty, right? Oh, it's smelling. Now, macro and microplastics has affected over 800 million animal species. Now, when I refer to animal, talking about humans as well. There are some now. Animals see plastics as food, especially aquatic animals, right? They see plastics as food. And over time, we are struggling with the biodiversity bank. It's always called biodiversity bank. Now, including human, right? We have different traits. For example, you hear that some human beings have a particular blood type that can be used to cure fever, right? Now, there are also fish species, right, that we are losing due to the effect of plastic pollution. But many of them die, if not by consumption, if not through consumption, the effect of microplastics in them, right? So biodiversity loss. Secondly, we have emission of greenhouse gases. Now, I hope we all know that during plastic production, greenhouse gases are emitted. And now, after production, you know that when plastics are exposed to solar radiation, especially those that are non-thermostats, those that are unable to control temperature, which we have more of them, right? They emit gases. And also, let me give another way. When plastics clog together, I know we all at some point had gone through waste sites, and this foul smell, there's this odd smell that waste gives, right? Methane. When plastics clog together, right, they give that foul smell. That foul smell means that there's emission of methane because they have been exposed to solar radiation. And also disintegration. And this is one thing. In communities where they do not have proper waste management system, some people burn their plastics thinking that they would go, oh, plastic will go if I burn it. No. However, what they have done is just change the shape of the plastic and emitted more of methane and carbon dioxide. That is emission. 3, public health. I'm going to talk about this more in my next slide. And most especially genetic mutation. In fact, there are so many researches now on microplastics. And one of the research I found fascinating was in 2021 by the National Library of Medicine, which showed that bisphenol A. Now, if we all know, bisphenol A is one of the chemicals, right, in plastics. Bisphenol A, phthalate, and styrene. Now, all these chemicals are labeled as carcinogenics. They are carcinogens, right? So they cause cancer. Now, in 2021, it was discovered that bisphenol A and styrene, they cause the DNA, they cause damage of the DNA, right? And leads to mutagenesis in human cells, right? So, and this alters the genetic mutation. This alters the gene, right? So there is a way that the gene mutates, right? So it's just like you release a poison into the human body. And you know that the DNA is just the basic unit, right? So plastic pollution is beyond waste. Look at these 4 points there's more. These are 4 points that I've opened our eyes to. I know a lot of our researchers, we know about this already. I'm calling out our consciousness more, that we need solutions beyond, addressing waste issues. There is a limit to which recycling can address some of these impacts, right? There's a limit. But there are more solutions that would address this impact directly, like that would address them directly and lessen this impact from plastic pollution. And that takes us to our next slide. You can see so many, these are screenshots of researches online. You know, plastic pollution found in human feces, far back as 2018. Plastic pollution found in the placenta of a baby. Imagine a baby coming to this world and already is at less advantage. And also plastic pollution detected in human blood, right? So all these are telling us that, beyond the waste that we see on landfills, plastic pollution is in the gutter. It is now in our health system, right? It now affects the way we live our lives, right? It now alters our genetic formation. It alters food chain. It kills aquatic animals, right? It pollutes the air. So these are some of the important areas I would like to call our attention to. And moving now to the next question, the next phase, I'd like to ask us this question. Now that we have more broader ideas about the effect of plastic pollution, do we think plastic pollution needs an updated definition? So I like to get a response in the chat box. Now that we know that, oh, thank you, Nana. And I hope I'm making sense to everyone. So now that we have coded our consciousness, because we know these things. Yeah, I believe I'm in the midst of scholars. We know these things. And now that we see that plastic pollution is beyond waste. Oh, fine. Plastic pollution is the incessant disposal of plastic materials in our environment. It should not stop there, right? There should be something else. So I'd like someone to give us an updated definition of plastic pollution. Let's see. I like suggestions. I like ideas. Who knows? From here, we could have people would go and speak, and they would quote that definition. They'll be going and speak in conferences. Yes, I like to get at least from 3 people. We have about 30 here. I like to get from 3 people. I like to get from 3 people. So I'm going to wait in the chat box. This would tell if we all were following. I'm still waiting. I'd like to hear.
Thank
Yes,
you.
so Jess, in the chat box. Oh, someone wants to speak? Okay, if you like to speak, you can go ahead.
You know, I was saying that when they're writing the chat box, you can as well ask them if there are any questions so that we don't spend so much time on this.
Okay, all right. So I'm about rounding up. So while we all are thinking, I'll just do that. I'll go to my, I think I have 2 more slides left. Right, I'm moving fast with time. So I'll be expecting that contribution. I've seen something from Princess Dube, but I'll give others more time. So let's move. Now let's talk about the way forward. It is not enough to talk about the problems. We need to talk about the way forward. What is the way forward? Now that we know that plastic pollution is beyond waste management issues, and we could start thinking about so many ideas or amplifying them. The circular economy model, where we lessen the amount of plastics that find their way into the environment. Right. Oh, earlier the coordinator spoke about reuse. There's refurbish, there's recycling, right? Then we need to start reducing. When we reduce the quest for virgin plastic, we would cut down the emission of plastics and the emission of greenhouse gases, right? And also we start cutting down the amount of microplastics that find their way into the environment. We need to start looking at innovative way of packaging our products, right? Reject plastic packages as much as possible. I know for countries that have not yet placed total ban, it is not always easy, but we can start reducing. We can have innovations that help us use, for example, now, there are so many packages from plant-based materials, like we have the bamboo, right? We have the paper. And one funny thing about these things is that Unlike plastic, a lot of them are 100% recyclable. For example, for paper, you might not always need to go and cut down trees again. You can recycle paper from dump sites, right? Now we must also amplify consumer education, like what we are doing. We must increase that awareness on the impact of plastics so as to drive on the environment, so as to drive behavioral change. And also, we must also give ourselves to government regulations. Currently, there was a ban on single-use plastics in Lagos. And I'd like to tell you that why some people were happy about it, some people were not. And that's because they thought, oh, if we can manage the waste, we can manage plastic pollution, right? And they never even understand the impact of plastics on their health, right? They only think of, oh, if we can just think of how we can get these plastics off from our gutter, from our streets. They don't even know that even plastics that are properly trashed, right, also have its own harmful effects, right? They do not understand the advantages of plastic pollution in coastal communities. So we need to give ourselves to regulation, support, and call for active policies, right? And also, now there are biodegradable plastics, even though there's some research that if not well compacted, biodegradable plastics leach microplastics faster, right? However, there are more innovative research on the use of biodegradable plastics. Plastics that while they are in use, they are well compacted, and after disposal, they decompose, right? We can now start looking at technologies that can convert non-recyclable plastic into electricity or heat, right? So as to reduce our landfill reliance and minimize waste. Also, we can look at ocean cleanup initiatives. The lesser amount of plastics that we have in the ocean, the better for us. The lesser amount of plastics that find their way into our environment, the better for us, right? Example, we have the ocean cleanup project. If we all know the ocean cleanup project, we have the For Ocean, we have the Seeding project, right? Which use innovative technologies to collect ocean plastics. And when they are doing that, they are not only reducing the plastic waste, right? They are improving the ecosystem biodiversity. They are also helping to improve the food chain. And as well, there are also innovation on plastic eating enzymes. I think the plastic eating enzymes have been in play for over 5 years now, right? The use of enzymes that can break down plastics, right? Also, just imagine we have those enzymes, or we have drugs that when we take them, they help to either flush out microplastics in our body system, right? Or break them down into non-harmful components. So my people, dear fellows and friends of WAAW Foundation, I hope I've been able to call our consciousness to the fact that plastic pollution is beyond waste management issues. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. So I can see, thank you so much for your contributions. Yeah, I'll just read them out. Okay, we have a lot of contribution already. Someone said the accumulation of plastic products to extent of creating risk to the ecosystem. I like that. Someone said we could say it is a kind of pollution caused by micro and macro plastics through disposal, burning, consumption, and other means leading to biodiversity loss, climate change, and disease. I like that. Contamination of natural environment and its inhibitors. I like that. Contamination of natural environment. And this is this has so many terms in depth. Yes, this covers it. I like that. Someone said accumulation of macro and microplastic in the environment and body of animals, creating hazardous effects to environment and health. Thank you. Someone said the buildup of plastic waste in the environment, harming wildlife, ecosystem, and human health due to improper disposal and lack of recycling. Someone said it is the process that does not only talks about inappropriate disposal, but the disposal that affects terrestrial, aquatic, and atmospheric life. So, okay, yes, another way, of course, combating plastic to fuel. Yes, there is someone in Nigeria or your state who converts plastic materials, nylon, to fuel. It was featured on BBC sometimes last year. All right, thank you so much. At this point, I'd like to give room for questions before I hand over. I'm going to share the slide with Christina after the session so she can share with everyone. I hope I've answered your question, Anna. All right. Yes, Nima, I can see your hand up.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Nimatula Mohammed Bashir. I'm from Osman Sanford University, Sokoto. I'm a biochemistry student. So my question actually is, I would like to, it's not really a question, Sha. You mentioned now that there's someone that's converted nylon to fuel, and last year, let's say last year slash this year January, I and my colleagues, we plan on executing a project. The project was actually on waste management. So our proposal was to convert nylon to, like, how will I put it, to partner with companies that can convert nylon to fuel, to energies, consumption energy, or how will I put it. So we could not do that because it was very hard for us to get contact with anybody. The only people we were able to contact, they've closed down their company and stuff. So I don't know if you can help us with the contact or the name of that person, if you can partner with him on the project. Thank you very much.
You are muted.
All right, so first I have a video on, I think I will also share that. I'm coming, please. So first you can check Google. Yes, you can check Google. There are so many. Yeah, the one I saw was, you can check Google. There are so many people that I've come across. However, I don't know, due to some issues that are hidden to me, many of them, their innovations do not thrive. And of course, you know that oil is I don't know I'm not a particular adjective. Production of oil, there are policies, right? There are policies and there are regulations, right? So, however, I noticed that those kind of beautiful ideas, and that's not the first time I've been seeing it. I've been seeing videos on people who use plastics, right, to produce fuel. And I'm like, wow, this is such a beautiful idea. When the government hear about this, something can be done, not only in Nigeria, like also Nigeria. So, however, that is where it stops. Maybe because that is the level to which I have information about those innovations. However, I'm going to share the video. So I to the admin that reached out to me on WhatsApp. I can't remember his name. I'm going to share the video. I have the video on my phone. One of my WhatsApp contacts shared with me. So I'm going to share with her along with the slide. Then you can also check Google. There are so many people that have done so many things with plastics. Right? And
Okay, okay. Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Paul. Thank you so much for for sparing your time to share your wealth of knowledge on this subject. We've gained a lot. Thank you, everyone. So now, my fellows, thank you for showing up. We're not yet through. I know that many of us are yet to do our outreaches. Please and please and please, you guys, February is ending. Those of you that are yet to do, please let's